I've just realised this is pushing buttons after dark. It is late in the evening right now.
Is this
the latest that we've recorded?
No, it's not, because we did the Sony reaction one was like 9 in the evening or something.
Oh, that's a shame. I was going to bring out all of my blue post-watershed material. I was going to come out with all my dirty jokes because I thought it was late enough.
And then it gets released on a Saturday morning, and all the cartoons and the kids are going, Mommy!
Saturday morning, kids' TV.
He's talking about handing over poo again.
You actually kept that in. That was great. The out of context poo chat. It's never gonna get explained as well.
Yeah.
Never will it be known. But yeah, we're recording late in the evening, and do you know what? I've poured myself a little glass of beer, Mark.
Have you?
Because I'm freaking wild. Look at this.
Oh, look at it. Oh,
it's Wednesday. It is hump day. I've got myself a bottle of Proper Job.
Proper Job Cornish IPA.
A Cornish IPA Proper Job. Yeah, on a Wednesday, I allow myself to have a solitary drink before the weekend.
Before the weekend, Wednesday, smack in the middle.
Yeah, because the week goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
That's my week anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we only let ourselves drink at the weekend, but every now and then on a Wednesday, if I'm feeling the need for speed, I'll sup on a beer or something like that. And I thought, recording a podcast, that's a perfect time to have a tipple.
Do you know what I want? And I never say this.
Well, Skyrim on PC HD 4K running at 120 FPS.
No. No. So it came out like that. A wheat beer.
Ooh, Weissbier, yeah.
Yes, Weissbier.
Das Beste. Oh, I love a good Weissbier. Yeah, can't beat it, actually. A really nice chilled Weissbier. Just from Deutschland.
Sometimes it's a bit much, or it's like the anti-beer. It's not what I want, but occasionally it's just something else that you can sup on and enjoy.
It is something else that you can sup on and enjoy. I think that's what a lot of them use as the marketing. Like, it's just something else that you can sup on and enjoy. That's what Hogarden say. Actually, no, Hogarden's not a good example. That's a very mass-marketed Weissbier. It's all right. Oh, pushing buttons after dark, baby.
Talking beer and babes.
Talking about all that Nintendo eShop shovelware of loads of sexy anime girls going, yeah. Those games are trash, man. There's so many. No, but I've watched people play them on YouTube because it's funny.
Is there actually any?
No, but it's all like stuff that like isn't sexual, but it's like shooting arrows at the screen, and when you hit, it like makes like items of the girl's clothes come off and stuff like that. But it's not okay. It's not all right.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, guess who's the MVL still, Mark? In this week's episode of Pushing Buttons,
has no one taken the crown?
Why was there such a delay there? Nobody's taken the crown, Mark. Are you stupid? Of course they haven't. Why don't you get one of your mates to take the crown, like Phil?
Yeah,
flipping
Phil.
Phil, the doubting Thomas. What were we talking about Phil about in the last episode? He was like
completely forgot.
he didn't know about things going gold, did he?
No, I can tell you what he got it confused with. I have sympathy. It wasn't him just being utterly thick, but basically he got it confused with going platinum. Because do you remember when games used to go platinum, and then they basically used to re-release the game with a different box with worse box art?
Yeah.
But he got it confused with that. He was like, basically, because he messaged a bunch of us just like, how's the game gone gold and it's not out yet? And we were like, no, Phil, you're thinking of platinum.
He's He's got his knickers in a twist there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And they would also do the Game of the Year edition. They would always do that. I remember getting Unreal Tournament Game of the Year edition back when I was about 6 years old.
Well, they name them all different things these days. There's no platinums as far as I'm aware, but there are Game of the Year editions, definitive editions, complete edition.
Yeah, generally these days it's like all the DLC will be, they'll just do that. The Handsome Jack collection was the Borderlands one. Stuff like that, isn't it?
Something themed around the game.
That's always a good laugh, isn't it? It's always a good lark. But yeah, sadly, no one's taken Lawal Mohammed's mantle. I say sadly, and I'm very happy for him to continue being our MVL because he's a decent bloke at the end of the day. But we would love a new MVL. So as always, you just got to tell 5 people about this podcast and let us know that you've done it. I'm looking at you, Phil. Don't even know if you listen to the show or know what it is. But Phil, mate, I want you to be the new MVL because I reckon I could sing a pretty good song about Phil.
And here's an example of the kind of jingle that you could have made for you, but with your name, not Lawal's. It's a great tune.
Oh, sorry.
We should say, hi, we're back and welcome to episode 15 of
Got
Pushing
things in the
Buttons.
wrong order there.
We've not even welcomed you back and we've gone straight into the MVL chat and platinums and golds. And... Anyway, so we've done that now, so we can still move on. What have you been playing? It's just rattling on at a fair pace, this one. It's all over the place. It's just the evening vibe. It's that beer you've had. It's affecting
I know,
me.
It's all happening. I made a homemade chicken chow mein for tea and it's sitting just right in my belly right now and I'm fired up and ready to go, mate. I have been playing some video games over the last week since I talked to you last, some of which I've already mentioned. Doom Eternal, I'm ploughing on with that. It's just a whole lot of arcadey fun. It's one of those games that when I sit down and play it, I'm loving it and I don't want to stop. But it's not always, it doesn't always jump out to me as a game like, yes, I need to play some Doom. Just because I've realised that I'm such a sucker for like open world RPGs, whether that's a JRPG or a Western RPG, just something that's calling me back to the game, whether that's a progression system or whatever. Like Doom is so much fun. Don't get me wrong. Doom Eternal, absolutely great. When I'm playing it, I'm having a blast. But it is that. It is an arcadey shoot 'em up. You're having a laugh, but it's not necessarily the most engaging or rewarding thing in the world. Like something like Dark Souls, where you're playing it and it's like, oh my God, this is so hard and it's so rewarding when I get onto the next bit and that kind of thing. I don't get that as much from Doom. Maybe I need to play it on a harder difficulty. I don't know, but it's a lot of fun.
Well,
come on, you can do it.
When I played it, I loved it. So the first game, that is. But I found that I could play a level and then go play something else.
Yes.
So I could play a level a day and be happy with the amount of Doom I've had in my day.
That's sort of what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I think it's perfect for that. So it's kind of a good thing. But the other thing is that like it's not exactly lore rich. The story was like stupid. I really enjoyed not stupid as in bad, stupid as in ridiculous in the sort of action movie.
But they know
sense
that as well, though.
Yeah.
They know how stupid it is.
And I loved like following along how just genuinely like dumb it was. But it's not like rich. It's not like, wow, I can't wait to find out what happens next. It's just, I'm going to go kill stuff to metal music. Oh yeah, the story, lol.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's mindless and it's good fun. I'm enjoying dipping into it. It's a good Clalit Penza, which if you know what I mean. Yeah, so
I
I'm
think that
enjoying.
was a Russian tank.
Yeah, the Klalit Panzer. I had to remind myself of what Russian sounded like for a second.
I think I meant German, but that's okay.
Oh, a Panzer.
Yeah, that was the guy.
Yeah. That's it. But I also like. I also like the Russian. The Klalit Panzer.
It's gone very Borat over here.
It has, yeah. Sorry. So Doom Eternal, enjoying it. Would recommend.
Yeah.
Also been playing more of Hades because it is just the gift that does not stop giving. Brilliant game. One of my games of the year so far. Next one is a little bit of a fun throwback. And basically, I've started playing it because the Mario All-Stars 3D collection came out, and I was like, hell no, am I paying 50 quid for those games that I've played before and already own? So I've just dipped back into Super Mario Odyssey, and I'm playing that because there was a lot of moons that I didn't get. Moons, of course, not stars. I thought I was jumping back into it, ready to collect stars, but I forgot that it's moons on this game. But I'm thoroughly enjoying playing Super Mario Odyssey again. It's just a whole lot of fun. I feel like they brought a really great new element to it with the cap that you throw at things and you become the things that you throw it at. The movement is really, really great on it. I think it's sort of back to how it was on Mario 64, I think, in the way that you can move the character and so all the like jumps and stuff you can do. It's just great, and I love a lot of the worlds in it. I think it is a very, very good Mario game, so I've enjoyed dipping back into that.
Do you know, I've been thinking about playing that again.
Yeah.
Just back up in my mind, it's primarily because I can't play Galaxy, and I want to play Galaxy.
Yeah.
I don't think I enjoyed Odyssey as much as you, but the fact that I actually want to go in there and play it again probably says enough that it's not a bad game.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's a very, very good game, and the reason why I dipped back into it was because I think you're right in that I would love to dip into Galaxy, but I know that there probably would be some element. I know that if I went back and played 64 or Sunshine, I would be disappointed, and I would think, oh, it's just it feels old. Whereas Galaxy, I don't think would feel old if I played it. But,
do you know, I slightly disagree. I think 64 would just feel like 64, and that would be fine. I think that game is so well rounded. I'm no huge. Yeah,
but do you remember the camera controls on it? They're atrocious.
Yeah, they're poop, but also the N64 controller was poop.
Yeah.
You think of Z targeting and frickin' Ocarina, it's horrible, but you still play Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
I suppose you kind of take those. I don't know what you call it. You take the you take the rough with the smooth. That's what I kept trying to say. You take the wheat with the chaff, but that's not the phrase at all.
Is absolutely not the phrase. You take the wheat with the chaff.
You
don't.
Take that wheat right with that chaff.
This farmer's going,
chaffing out.
Stop it! Use the thresher! God damn it, you're ruining the bread!
Oh, I love getting phrases wrong, man. It's a lot of fun. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, whereas I feel like Sunshine would have a lot of fallible points to it. But yeah, no, the original point being, yes, I've been wanting to play a bit of Odyssey myself. I really want to play Galaxy again. I've actually looked at the price of second-hand Wii's and I'm definitely considering it.
I gave my Wii away, which was a bad decision.
Oh, I sold it.
Well, as in I could get it back. I just gave it to Mide because he wanted a console that I'm 100% sure he isn't playing it, so I could easily get it back. But at the same time, I don't really want another console sat under my TV because...
Yes, you do.
Well, no, because it's all the flipping Wiimotes and nunchucks and all that nonsense flopping around.
Have you got steering wheels and guns and balance boards?
No. Do you know what? I never bought an extra... Yeah, I never bought an extra Wii peripheral. I couldn't do it.
Starlink toys that go directly on you. Yeah.
No, Starlink, no thanks.
Absolutely no, thank you.
And last but not least, I have downloaded onto my Xbox One console Monster Hunter World with the ambition of getting into it. I started it and got to like a tutorial, and I instantly remembered, the like combat system in these games is very difficult to get into. It is not an easy thing. So if I'm going to do it, I really need to commit, because I sort of got put off because I was like, Monster Hunter controls are whack, man.
It's a funny mixture of, it's not complicated, it's intricate, and there is a difference. But what it is clunky.
Yeah.
So like those two things together just are like a recipe for, you're either going to put a little bit of time in and sort of love it for what it is and really enjoy it, or you're just going to be like, why can't I pull that off? Why does this feel so like weird and like rickety, and like why can't, you'll just get a little bit frustrated. I really enjoyed my time with that game. But I can totally understand why it wouldn't be someone's cup of tea.
Is it? Would you? Because I initially had a similar thing with Dark Souls when I first played that years and years ago. I was like, well, this is too hard. I'm not doing this. But is it similar to that? Or because with Dark Souls, it wasn't really the controls. It was more, it's a very unforgiving game. Whereas this, the barrier just seems to be that I would need to learn the movesets and like hold right trigger to change the form and and like combos and stuff like that. I don't want to learn combos on a.
You need to find a weapon that works for you, because especially when you're just starting the game, I think if you've played the game before or you've gotten really good with a certain type of weapon, that's when you can start to experiment and do other things. You just need to find something that goes, right, this one's clicked with me, I'm going to play this. Because I did that, because I was looking at all the weapons, I was like, I'm definitely not playing the heavy gun or the light gun. I don't like those at all. And then I found the rocket, what's it called? It's like a rocket lance or something.
Okay,
it's got a name, and I was like, this is really gelling with me. The sort of slow, kind of slightly tanky, bang, shoot the thing. Like it kind of like started to gel, and I could start getting the combos off. I would say it's not the same as Dark Souls. I feel with Dark Souls actually has a really simple move set. The intricacies come in when you start trying to combo it with like the magics or the pyromancies and stuff.
And parrying.
And parrying if you're trying to like switch things up. The actual like ticket to unlocking the secret of Dark Souls is a mixture of patience and like timing, because you just like, even if you never master parrying, you can roll your way through that game.
Yeah.
With Monster Hunter, you will need to start memorizing a few combos, and you will need to like get used to the sort of speed of the weapons and the way they feel and the slight clunkiness of it, and the fact that it does feel like you're in there wrestling with the bloody things. In a good way, I think. But again, wouldn't necessarily be everyone's cup of tea. I just really got into it at the time. And also the cat chefs are just the most glorious thing.
Yeah, because I really love the look of the world and the way it feels. And I've called my character Tinty, as I always do. And I've loved, it's got a great character building system. You can even design away your own cat helper. What's it called? Palico?
Palico, yeah.
Yeah, how they look. And I love the look of the world, and it's drawn me in that. But it's as soon as I got to that combat tutorial, I was like, okay, I'm going to need to invest some time here, because this weapon that I've just picked did not feel right. So yeah, okay, well, that's good to know.
Maybe you don't have any other games on the back burner in terms of, if you're still like deep in Hades, enjoying Odyssey at the moment, get Eternal ticked off. Once the hype for Hades drops off a little bit, have a moment where you're like, this is the game I'm playing, and see how you get on. But my main advice is go into that tutorial area, try every single weapon until you find one that, even though you don't necessarily know the combos, just feels good. Yeah. And once you find one that feels good, then worrying about like learning the game and sort of getting into it, and that's when it'll click.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, mate. Well, that's what I've been playing. How about you, good sir?
More Squadrons, more Star Wars Squadrons.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, it's really good. I want people to play with. I had a couple of my mates did buy it and then just immediately went and started playing other things. It's not that they don't like it. It's just that they constantly buy like funny indie games and stuff and co-op.
Okay.
And like, I don't want to keep buying like an indie game a day. That's mad. So ideally need a squadron. So I'm kind of waiting for you, I think, and anyone else that wants to
Well,
get it.
if you can wait, obviously, yeah. So I'll be getting it early November. I mean, maybe it's worth, because you don't want to burn out on it and then be a bit sick of it, and by the time other people get it, be like, I'm not really up for it anymore. So if you can hold off a little bit.
I mean, I've played a lot, but I've now it's falling off a bit. Like I'm not really grabbing the HOTAS to play it now. That first week was like hot. So by the time you've got it, probably be all good. Apart from that, I sort of dived into 3 sort of old games that I used to play just to like assess vibes. One of which was Overwatch. The Halloween season has come in. A few people were like, we're going to check that out. So I dived in. Yeah, it's Overwatch. There's a new character. It's all fine and dandy there. Another one is one I actually I'm not playing seriously at all, but I just installed League of Legends just to see what was going on, and it's still a hive of awful. Don't recommend that game. So don't recommend Riot.
The one that you've put loads of time into is Dota, right?
Well, back in the day, I put loads of time into League of Legends as well.
Oh, okay, okay.
But then Dota's well overtaken that, yeah.
And is Dota Blizzard?
No, neither are Blizzard.
So, all right, okay.
Dota is Valve.
Who does Dota? Valve. Oh, of course, yeah, okay. And Riot is League of Legends.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, not good. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just awful. Okay. And then Cuphead.
Oh, great game.
And I just had that like renewed sense of the incredible achievement that game is.
Oh, it's incredible.
And the amount of work. I'm looking at each animation thinking they bothered to put in however many frames it is just for that like starting animation of that boss or that transitional animation for that boss, and it's just like I'm enjoying it on a different level this time.
Yeah. I
the
think
first time I played it,
a masterpiece.
I was like, oh, this is pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Like first time I played it, it was like, oh, I'm enjoying this. This is cool gameplay. It's pretty. Oh, it's difficult in places. This time I'm kind of playing it like, oh, if I haven't played this in a while, I try and remind myself how to actually win. Followed by, oh, how great everything looks. This is great. So I'm just enjoying the Cuphead vibe.
Have you seen they're doing an animated cartoon
on Netflix?
Yeah, mad, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm still waiting for that DLC that they promised some time ago. But since it is hand drawn, hand animated, I can wait.
Yeah,
it's fine.
They're allowed a bit of extra time.
Another game, very briefly, I switched on was Gris, which is.
I was interested to see how you're going to pronounce it, because some people I've heard say Gris without the S, like it's French.
Gris.
Yeah, just like that.
And I had like no expectation, but I wasn't really ready for it. Basically, it's like an artist and a sound designer came together and went, let's make a game. It's kind of like a walk right simulator.
Right.
To be honest.
Okay.
It's really not interesting or fun, but...
All right. Anything that you're going to say after the word but is sort of irrelevant because you've said it's not interesting or fun.
No. I've done it a disservice. Let me explain. What I mean is the gameplay is not interesting or fun, but I'm barely into it, but it's extremely artistic and like emotional and like the sound, it's very heavy on like the musical score and the sound design. So it's I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. I just kind of flicked it on because I was like, oh, here's an indie game that I can dive into. And it's something I think you'd want to play if you just want something absolutely chilled and just want to soak it in. And I wasn't in that sort of soaking, take this in vibe check.
Yeah.
So like, I'm very interested to play more because it's so like artistic and musical and all the rest of it. But like first impressions were just like, I'm holding the analog stick right a lot. I've pressed jump a couple times. I can now turn her into a brick. What is this?
So you'd recommend putting aside a Saturday, stripping down to a bathing suit and just soaking in Gris.
I reckon if you can take your Switch into a hot tub, put on some noise cancelling headphones, fill the air with incense.
Ooh.
then like maybe you're onto something.
Okay. All right. So it's not
But, like,
you're not doing much, but it's an absolute vibe.
It's an absolute vibe. But again, I'm not that deep into it, and I just wasn't expecting it at the time. I was like, oh, this isn't this. What's this?
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's
Caught you off guard. Gree. Lovely. Yeah, I've heard some good things about that game, so I think it's on. Is it on Switch? I think it might be on Switch.
It is on Switch.
It is,
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, I'm definitely getting it. Lovely stuff. That's what we've been playing. That's that's what the housekeeping done. We normally sort of slot into the news here, and we're going to have a little brief sort of news trifle. But there isn't a whole lot to go into really, and we thought for this ep we'd just have a really nice general chat, bit of debate, bit of sort of what's going on in games, but less so about the breaking news. But there are a couple of things to touch on, and the main thing that's sort of going on really is that as we mentioned in the last episode, the Xbox Series X is out there in the wild, in the hands of, influencers, gaming journalists, all that sort of stuff. And there's lots of comparisons going on between Xbox Series X and the Xbox One X and the Xbox One. The way they name these consoles is dumb as hell. And also in some cases comparing with PC as well, I've seen, which was interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and it's all basic. The only thing that people are allowed to talk about, the people that do have an Xbox Series X, is sort of load times and this quick resume stuff that's going on. But we'll sort of touch on that a little bit more later. There's also been a video that PS5 put out, which was a teardown video, which basically means they totally unscrew the PS5 and show its innards, show all the guts and everything inside it, and basically just showed that the reason why it's as comically large as it is because it has a huge cooling system and a massive fan, a huge fan. So that thing is, you'd think, is going to stay nice and cool and be whisper quiet. That is what everybody is hoping. That is... But there was also some memes that came out of it, like to be able to turn it on its side, you have to use a screwdriver, and to be able to put in the memory cards and shit, you have to use a screwdriver. So of course, all of the X-boys, the X-bots, were like, "You have to use a screwdriver and just put it on its side. Oh, that's hilarious!" So that was Twitter. So it was. I watched the teardown video, and it was done in a very clinical. I mean, obviously,
is there a voiceover that goes? Because I really enjoy the ones
there is
I've
a voiceover. There's an English voiceover over the top of it, and it's like, and this is the port for.
Oh, that's what I want.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch that later. I love that stuff so much.
This is a USB 3.0 port.
That's my favorite.
This here is the HDMI out. And it's all that kind of thing.
Oh, that's so fun. So does it go, so now we remove this ribbon cable, and this is connected to the flash drive.
Yeah. Yep.
Careful not to tear it. And this little screw is dedicated to the Wi-Fi card. So we just take that out there and pop that out.
Yeah.
And that's the Wi-Fi card.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's my favourite. I'm watching that later.
It was all that. And it was boring as hell. I'm sure there were a lot of people that will take interest in it.
It's interesting and it's relaxing. And screw you. I love that so much.
Okay, man.
I'm going to watch that later.
But all I'm saying is, fair enough, there are people that find it interesting, but just give the PS5 to people so they can try it and talk about how great it is, as opposed to showing that, which is so weird.
I think that's better. I think that's better. What we'll say actually is a stem off that. Yeah. Another reason I find it interesting, it's interesting to see the two different approaches, because Xbox has obviously gone for it's not larger, but it's a more boxy sort of PC case design, which means that they can just slap a what I assume is like a 120mm fan on the top and have like the ventilation that way. Whereas
it's got a bit. I think it's got a bit on. It's got airflow in on the back of the console, and then it goes out the top, basically.
Yeah. Whereas Sony has kept up that classic console design of like making everything in a compact, like designed shell, and then rather than like, you know, a box, so to speak, and then having like all the like heat pipes and stuff like, you know, intricately like inside it with a big fan. I find it interesting. It's a different approach.
There is also an Xbox teardown video out there as well, if people are interested, so you can watch them back to back and have a nice tech party for yourselves.
Do they open it up and it's secretly an Intel NUC with a graphics card in it?
They open it up and it's an Alienware gaming laptop from 2008.
Anyway, so the other piece of news really is that both consoles have like an extension slot, and they've both done this in different ways. PlayStation 5 has a dedicated M.2 SSD storage slot, and the Series X has like, I didn't know this, you just told me this, but it has a storage expansion card that is specifically from Seagate.
So that's their sort of dedicated. They've partnered with Seagate for it, but there will be a load of knockoff, non-official ones you would expect. But the official one is with Seagate, yeah.
But that, to me, is like so old school because it's like reminiscent
it's slapping a memory card
cards.
It is literally like slapping a memory card into PS1. And so I massively agree with you, but I also like those old memory cards. There was something so satisfying about it, and being like, oh, this memory card here has all my saves for like Final Fantasy 7 and 8 on it. I need to take care of this little beauty.
I'm up for it for that reason. I'm less up for it for the classic Xbox reason, which is like back with 360. One of the problems I have with the Xbox 360 is that everything was an accessory. So like you'd buy the console and then find out you have to spend like another 150 quid to slap Wi-Fi and like a memory card in it. And it was so irritating, or the hard drive or whatever.
Isn't the PS5 one the same, except you don't see it? It's just you put it in internally.
Yeah, you put it in internally, but I assume you can pick any M.2 that's on sale and just slap it in there. So Samsung or Seagate or WD Black or whatever, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm assuming they're both SSD.
Yes, yeah, they are.
All right, that's fine then. So the speed should be comparable, if not the same.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's completely fine.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's been a lot of talk about the size of next generation games and how like obviously people sort of expect as games get have more incredible graphics and they have bigger open worlds, etc. The size of the games is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But actually, I think they, just as an example, I think Assassin's Creed, whatever the new one is, Valhalla, is only going to be 50 gigabytes, which is actually way smaller than people expected for like a big open world game. So like it's going to be interesting to see so I think both the PS5 and Xbox Series X are 1 terabytes as like standard. So it's going to be interesting to see how many next gen games, like for example, Cyberpunk, how much of these, because obviously these 1 terabyte consoles, a lot of that is going to be the OS. So like, and it's going to be interesting to see just how much the OS takes up of that 1 terabyte, and then is it just going to be like everybody's then just going to be rushing out to buy this expanded memory?
Yeah, it's not enough. Everyone will be once actual next gen games coming out. That's what people will need immediately is a storage upgrade. So like these have been like shown for a reason. Because they're just like, it's fine for now. If you buy a PS5 and you got the PlayStation Plus games, you'll be able to fit those on, and Cyberpunk and something else. Xbox, same thing, play your old games, and then like all the next gen games will start coming out in 2021 and they'll go, oh mama, I have to uninstall everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna be you just sounded like that that kid I can't remember his name, the Nintendo kid who's like screaming about, I think is he screaming about a Pokemon? When will you learn? When will you learn? Oh, my
it's about Sonic.
Yeah, that was Sonic. Yeah. What did you?
When will you learn?
Did you? Yeah, that kid. Oh, that's such a great meme. Yeah. Well, I'm so intrigued to see how big Cyberpunk is going to get. It's surely that game's going to be huge. You would think. Yeah, we'll see.
New graphics, new shaders, new stuff, new content.
This is it. And they're also saying, and there's going to be like a free next gen upgrade, basically. So if you buy it on current gen, you'll get they're doing like an enhanced next gen version, and everyone will get that for free, which is good. Let's see it.
Nice.
There isn't really any big news, really. We're all just sort of waiting for if there is going to be
trickles.
Yeah, little trickles. Things are sort of coming out, and consoles are falling back into stock. Obviously, all of the pre-orders sold out on day one for both consoles, but they're sort of slowly trickling the stock back out. I saw this is just sort of an aside and not to do with the news. I saw an interesting headline, a Bloomberg article about a sort of sales guru expecting that the Switch will sell more this Christmas than both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Don't know how you feel about that.
No.
That's a hard disagree from Mark Liddell.
Yeah, I don't. Who's saying this?
Oh, listen, man. I just saw the headline. Okay, don't quote me on it.
Okay.
Switch sell more.
I mean, to be fair, there is that like Scalextric Mario in your house home circuit thing, which, to be fair, for parents with money coming out their ears, would be like they would see that as a great idea.
Yeah. Okay, it's according to a note published by NPD Group's Matt Piscatella, who he's like a US games analyst. The NPD is like what is it? A market research group who just does loads of market research in the US, and he's basically seems to think that shortages in the PS5 and Xbox Series X will allow the Switch to kind of be the biggest Christmas seller.
Disagree.
We'll see, mate. The Switch
if you're talking about stock,
still selling gangbusters. The Switch is.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about stock, then yeah, he has a point.
Yeah. This is a quote from Matt Piscatella. Switch will also be a holiday gifting item, with more households picking up multiple Switch consoles in the fourth quarter. The lack of available inventory of new PlayStations and Xbox systems will leave Switch as an appealing available option. But we'll see about that, because really it needs to be people that don't already have, like families that don't own Switches, because there's no new games coming out. Like,
yeah. Oh, my son really wanted a PS5. We'll get him another Switch.
We'll get him the Switch Lite. He's already got the big Switch. That's interesting though. We'll have to kind of see how that one goes. The Switch is a very popular console. Anyway, back to the normal sort of run of events. We got a little bit of a listener feedback here from our dear friend Lawal, haven't we, Mark? Right. Sorry, listeners. I'm just going to call an ambulance because Mark seems to be having some kind of breakdown on the other side of the screen.
Sorry, I just received the fax that you've just heard.
Oh, it was a fax machine. Right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, that was a fax machine, everyone, in case nobody got that, which, I'm assuming no one did. Sorry, Mark, carry on.
That was it. I've got a fax.
Okay, great. So Lawal has faxed us, ladies and gentlemen. God, I hope that was worth it.
You were so not on board with that.
No, well, it took me a while. We mentioned at the end of last week as a hilarious joke that there are various ways you can get in touch with us, and we said you could even fax us. Of course, that was a joke. It was a very funny joke. But Mark Lawal has faxed us. Well, he didn't actually fax.
He has.
He hasn't actually faxed us because we don't have a fax machine and we didn't give out the number for it or anything like that. But he has sent us a very highly detailed PDF that he put way too much effort into, and there's a load of fax-based puns in it. He's an absolute legend. So if you'll stick with me here, Mark, I'll read you this.
Yeah, go for it.
The title of the fax was "Fax for the Memories," which is a good way to start. Just writing to express my appreciation for the work that you do with the podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. He said this episode, so I'm guessing he meant episode 14. And find that the attempts of others in this space are just a facsimile by comparison. Again, he's nailed another fax pun. If I had to predict, I think that Microsoft will surprise us all and convert a host of users into its ecosystem. Ironically, in the same way that Sony and Apple do so well with their consumer electronics. A lot of the quality of life stuff makes the... I didn't quite get through that sentence. A lot of the quality of life stuff makes the competition look antiquated. In the end, they're forced to respond and the gamers win. Hashtag more cross-platform. Hashtag more archive access. Hashtag more consumer-led. Hashtag more Game Pass. There's a lot of hashtags. Sometimes life can feel like you're spinning and spooling out of control from one big paper jam to the next. You ever get that inkling? Oh, wow, you're a funny man. Sometimes when you try and send a fax joke, all you get back are dial tones and engaged noises. Oh, crikey. Lowell, you're incredible. And he's actually said, P.S. I will humbly accept the kind gift of that mastered jingle. Hashtag honoured. So, Mark, he wants it mastered. So I don't know if it was already mastered.
It was already mastered. I need to mix it.
Yeah, you did say that you were going to give it a second.
When I find the time, I'll get it'll be a little present in your email that'll suddenly appear. So it's on its way eventually. I just can't guarantee when.
Okay, you'll get it, and it's going to sound even better than the first time because Mark put zero effort into it first time. Let's be honest. Thank you so much for getting in touch, Lawal. There, I think it's become quite clear that Lawal is a bit of an Xbox fan. I don't know if you've noticed that, Mark.
Yeah, I feel like most people would have a back and forth and sort of weigh up what's going on. If you go through all of Lawal's, it's just Xbox is great. I'm sticking with Xbox.
He is. He
isn't Game Pass great.
Yeah, he just wants me to get one basically, so I can play games with him. I reckon.
Yeah, maybe. But he's not really faltered. I do agree. I agree with the sentence. Let me find the sentence. If I had to predict, I think that Microsoft will surprise us all and convert a host of users into its ecosystem. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think
I agree with that.
The main thing that is making me undecided and making me question where I stand with next generation is this ecosystem, because they're just constantly doing things right, and so far there hasn't been PlayStation have been doing some things, like they announced that sort of collection of games from the PS4 era, but it's just all of the backwards compatibility stuff and Game Pass, and there's just a lot of things that Xbox seem to be doing very, very right, and they are also shouting about it very loud and proud across Twitter and the internet, and they're doing a really good job of it.
As they should.
As they should. Yeah.
Hey, this goes really well into our little comparison chat. So the other thing that's been going on is there's been comparisons done by various people, including Linus Tech Tips, which is one of the ones I watched, and you were talking about the one from
Digital Foundry.
Digital Foundry.
Yeah.
Comparing the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, we're still yet to hear or see anything from PS5 to PS4 comparisons because they haven't given it out yet. But yeah, having now gone and had a look, I'm impressed with quite a few of the features. Really, it's I guess the main things looking into it are that the quick resume is a little bit more tasty than we thought. It's not just the fact you can have 6 games open at one time. It's the fact that you can pause a game, turn your console off, go out for a meal with your parents, go to the pub for a quick pint with your friends, go to bed, sleep, go to work the next morning, come back home.
Go on a year-long trip around South America and flipping hike up Machu Picchu, Mark.
Come back, turn the console on, hit resume, and it plays from where you paused. That is cool.
Yeah, and that is something that I don't think Microsoft have really acknowledged, as in they've said, quick resume is great. You're going to be able to run I think they've said at least
they're banging
6,
on about the wrong bit.
Yeah,
quick
they're
resume.
saying, hey, you can have 6 different games on the go. You want to play this game, finish a level, you can do that, then jump into the other game that's still open. But you're so right. Why aren't they talking about this, Mark? The fact that you can play a game, turn the console off.
That's bigger. That's great. And you can boot into a game faster than you can on any PC.
Yeah.
You turn that thing on and you're straight in the game. No waiting time. Boom, I'm in. Babe, thanks for cooking dinner tonight. I've done the ironing. I'm just going to pop on some Doom if that's all right. Yeah, of course, no trouble. Thanks for doing that. You're in the game before she's even finished talking.
We just got a very in-depth look into Mark's domestic life there. I thoroughly enjoyed that. You're so right.
That's great.
I think
that's
that is.
So good.
I don't really understand how it works. In that, surely there's an element of a sort of always-on vibe.
No, you can turn it off. As far as I'm aware.
How does I don't understand.
I might be wrong.
No,
I'll have to check that. But as far as I'm aware, it just works.
That's pretty mad. And this is the thing. Like I have no idea if because PS5 could have exactly the same features, and based on their tech, there's no reason why they couldn't have the same features. It's just that
they just clearly didn't see it as important.
Well, yeah,
like Sony always goes big on like brand and like games.
Yeah.
So like.
They should. I don't,
And yeah, for sure. But like, I feel like it's not that they're dropping the ball, but like they probably don't realize that this stuff on the Xbox side is actually kicking up quite a lot of fuss.
Yeah.
So like when the PS5 comes out, people like if there is a load of stuff that the PS5 can do that we didn't know about, they're just going to be like, yeah, we're great.
Yeah.
You should know this. And it'll be like, oh, okay, console war, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
But like, at the moment, we just don't know.
It's one of those things. PS5 know they're gonna come out there swinging with the games, but I think Xbox are being very loud and proud about quality of life and the convenience features and those things are important to gamers. And like we've talked in the past about like the UI of the Xbox and things like that, and how it was very difficult to navigate and all those kind of things. Shouting about the things that are going to make your life better as a gamer, aside from the games, is also important. And I think PS5 have got some catching up to do in a way. But luckily, they do have things like Demon's Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales, games that are going to make people buy the console. So this war just keeps on turning, baby. But yeah,
the other thing is for sure. The backwards compatibility, the fact that it goes back to 360 and the original Xbox is pretty big.
Yeah.
Again, Sony just not backing that horse properly, not providing that very well. So with the Game Pass, it's just like obviously games that come out that get included in Game Pass, that's great. But then you can reach back into the past and go with this sound effect, and then go play like an old Xbox game. It's really cool.
That was quite Inception-esque. That was.
Yeah. The Linus video, I recommend you go watch it because he's a very techie, like PC gaming server type person. So he has he always goes in with it like in his sort of PC gaming head, but not in an obnoxious way. So he'll always like applaud the stuff that impresses him. The boot times were like the big thing. The other thing was the HDR 4K upscaling on old games. Microsoft has said that a lot. Like some games where it makes it look worse just because it blooms up like old textures and makes it look crappy, it will be turned off. But Linus did say that on a couple of games that he looks at, you can tell when moving that it looks a lot better and feels a lot smoother than Xbox One. So the frame rate thing's really helping, and the sort of the sort of texture rendering and the smoothness is more noticeable when you're on the move than standing still. Because if you're standing still and you look at a texture, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference. But when you're moving, because you've got all that extra frame rate, because, you know, all the HDRs, like bringing all the contrast up, when you're moving, it makes everything look and feel crisper. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Because in a game, you tend not to just stand there and look unless it's gorgeous or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm really... This, apart from, like, the Xbox... Game Pass being a great thing, this is the first time where I've felt really positive towards the Xbox side.
Yeah.
Like looking at it and going, this is the stuff we want to hear about. This is great. And I was a little bit down on the quick resume because I didn't know that it did what it did. Having 6 games open in my head is like cool, but like pointless.
Yeah.
But actually the flicking it on and having a game like exactly where you left it, in a way, Switch kind of does that.
Yes. Yeah.
But
you
like,
just put
obviously,
it on
it's
sleep
not,
mode, don't you?
Yeah, you put it on sleep mode, and I've always really enjoyed that. That kind of thing isn't what you can do on like PC or PlayStation. So now seeing that in action and seeing the speed and the ferocity of that, seeing the HDR thing work really like and play really nicely. There's a lot going on. It's why I'm coming into this subject off of a while's email, because that line, I think they're going to surprise us and people are going to come into the ecosystem. I agree with you, Lawal, because it's we've gone from, hey, Game Pass isn't this great, to features, ecosystem, vibes.
Yeah.
That should be their tagline.
Features, ecosystem, vibes. Forget this power your dreams nonsense. Get Mark Liddell on your marketing board. I totally agree with you. And if anybody does want to check that video out that Mark's referencing, it's on the channel Linus Tech Tips, and it's a video called Series X versus Xbox One. What's the difference? And like we've sort of been saying, we just want to see the PS5 stuff, because for all we know, PS5 has got all this stuff and more. We don't know, but they are going down a slightly different path. And the good thing that Xbox are doing is the amount they've clearly given a lot of the Series X, a lot of them out, and it means that you can find the YouTubers, the influencers that you sort of trust, and likelihood is they've got their hands on one of these consoles, so you're listening to the people whose opinions you trust, and sort of taking their word for it. And it's just a really good marketing tactic. So kudos to Xbox for that, I'd say.
Yeah.
The next thing
can we briefly talk about Nintendo?
Do we need to have a sit down and chat about Nintendo?
What's going on?
They're often neglected in our chats because of all of the Xbox versus PlayStation hype that's going on. But I feel like every now and then we sort of root back around to Nintendo and give them a good dressing down, so to speak.
Listen, they've wound me up again, and it's their pricing. I bothered. I was sad enough to watch the Nintendo Treehouse Live from last week.
Wow, okay. That's next level.
And I watched it live because I was so desperate for like some sort of like morsel of vibes that I watched it. I also put out a tweet on the pushing buttons at PB Podcast UK
nice
Twitter saying, what upcoming Switch release are you most interested in buying? And I neglected to put 2020, but people got the point.
Yeah.
And I put in 4 games: FIFA 21, because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, Pikmin 3, and Empire of Sin. And I can tell you that Hyrule Warriors, being this sort of big new sweeping Nintendo title, obviously won at 84.2%, and the rest trailed behind at 5.3%.
Yeah.
The thing is I watched that Nintendo Treehouse Live, and it's made me more interested in Hyrule Warriors. I'm highly likely to get it.
Sweet,
but
man.
I watched some of the gameplay from Pikmin 3, and I was like, I've never played Pikmin.
Neither have I, actually.
This looks kind of cute. This looks like a vibe. There's a demo. I'm going to go play that demo. As I went onto the shop, bearing in mind this game is from, let me check.
Ooh, I want to say 2015.
2013.
Oh.
On the Wii U, $49.99.
Mark, are we surprised?
I'm annoyed that I am,
Okay.
because I shouldn't be. But why is this old-ass game that's been remastered and sort of tweaked a little bit, and I accept that there is work that's gone into it, and it does look like it. This is not being emulated as far as I'm aware. This has been reworked for the Switch, motion controls, redone controls in TV mode, UI tweaks. I get it. Work has gone into it, and I really appreciate that work that's gone into it. £50 for a 2013 game. I'm not buying that. And this is from someone who's never played the game. I played the demo and actually kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was really sweet and like cool and like just different. I hadn't played a game quite like that, and I was up for the Nintendo vibe. Nintendo are cutting out people like myself who have not played that game who might be interested. They're cutting out people that have already played it and aren't going to pay £50 to play it and buy it again. I just don't. I weep. Why are they doing this to us?
Mark, the reasons are threefold. Okay, first of which, Nintendo make bad decisions. That is the Nintendo. The only good decision that Nintendo made in the last 10 years is putting out the Switch, and that first year of absolute golden joy that came along with it. Secondly, diehard Nintendo fans and Pikmin fans will buy it. And that is the reason why
you're right.
There are people that they get away with it, and why they keep doing it is because people keep buying it. It's the whole there's this phrase that I use a lot: vote with your wallet. Like, people are encouraging the behavior because there are enough schmucks out there that are being like, well, I suppose we've got to get it. Third is that it's gone. I was doing really well then, but the third,
you were doing really well.
I was doing.
So I edited it to make it sound like you're great.
Sick, man. Third is that nobody played it on the Wii U, so they think that it's a new game.
That's
essentially.
True.
Well, who had one who had a Wii U, and two, if they did have a Wii U, how the percentage of those people that bought Pikmin. To be fair, probably a lot of people did buy Pikmin 3 that had a Wii U, because people who had Wii U are mental Nintendo fans. There's a lot of things that Nintendo are telling themselves that it's probably a good idea, and that there have probably been enough cases of their first party AAA titles that they have sold millions of. Case in point is Animal Crossing. Like, when will you learn? When will you learn? Like, Animal Crossing sold absolute gangbusters, but the thing with that is it was a brand new title, so it was fine that we were paying full price for that game. But Pikmin, like you said, Pikmin 3 is an old game. Yes, they've remastered it. Oh, fantastic. Remastered it so I can play it in 720p on a handheld console. Like, I should not be playing. Did you say it was 50 quid? 50 quid for an old-ass Pikmin game, my friend.
The thing is, once upon a time, new games were 30 quid, right? As in a brand new spanking game, $29.99. That was the price. These days, they've all gone up, and they've steadily gone up, and that's just the thing that's happening, and that's annoying.
That is true, although I'd like to divert your attention back to the N64, when you could buy a brand new game for £60. The N64 games were expensive.
Yeah, but it was all like big new spanking boys then, when it was like a new.
No, you are right. It was. That was the. You are right. It was.
That was the future.
I remember buying Big Spanking Boys 64. That was one of my favourite games of the generation.
What I mean is that, like, back then, that kind of stuff was the future. Do you know what I mean? So it was expensive.
Yeah. But I think apart from maybe Game Boy Advance and like late PS1, I can't think of many games that were 30 quid. Maybe some PC games, actually.
I feel like PS2 games were 30 quid anyway, and sometimes 40. But like, the point being is that I saw the Nintendo Treehouse Live, thought it was sweet, and thought, I could be up for this. I want something to play on my Switch. And thought, if this is 30 quid, actually, I can that makes sense to me. Like,
of course, yeah.
It's 2013, but like, they've remastered it and, changed up the controls and stuff. And that's a good punt. I might have fun with this. And then it was like, turn on the Wii shop and Switch shop, and it goes. That was my eyes on stalks when I saw it was 50 quid.
I wish we could,
and I was just like,
I wish we'd filmed that clip.
God.
That was like live performance art. Yeah, no, it's
I was
pure
just
filth.
like, come on. So I downloaded the demo anyway and played the demo. And the more annoying thing is I played the demo and thought, I didn't hate that. I'd actually play this. And then was just like, it's this amount of money, so it's not happening.
And also, like,
yeah.
The game came out in 2013. Where's Pikmin 4?
Yeah, that too.
Like, what the hell?
Where's Mario Kart 9?
That's 7 years ago, and your best
Where's more
your best
Donkey Kong
efforts
Country?
is just to I would. Things would make so much more sense about Nintendo if they were a little bit more transparent about what they're doing and what they're working on. But at the same time, even if they were transparent, like, how can they justify selling Pikmin 3 for £50? It's just madness. Or at least sell it for £50 if it's like a Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 trilogy. Like, not that I'm justifying the Super Mario All-Star 3D All-Stars being 60 quid or whatever it was, but at least that was 3 games. It was 3 old games, but at least it was 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just baffling.
Yeah.
But I think the main reason, Mark, the reason why they get away with it is because people keep buying the stuff. And like, as soon as people stop buying the things, they're just going to continue.
Stop buying the things.
Yeah. When will you laugh? When will you laugh? I can't do it.
The thing is that jeez, he's gone. I think 50. If it was a collection, right? And it was 50 quid. I think that's justifiable because if they were all remastered, that kind of like makes sense because they've all been worked on. Mario 64 has not been worked on. It's been put in widescreen. Mario Galaxy has been emulated. It's not been worked on. Sunshine is a terrible game. It's not worth money. So like 50 quid for that 3 collection makes no sense. Whereas if Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 was like a remastered collection, 50 quid, I'd go, no, you know what? They've earned that. That kind of makes sense. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with just Pikmin 3 remastered being 30 quid new. Yeah. It's 50. It's a rip-off. Nintendo, get them out of here.
All I'm going to say is the Crash Bandicoot trilogy remastered, basically remade the games. That was 30 quid. All I'm saying.
Yeah.
Also, when this Spyro, yeah. When this Mass Effect trilogy comes out, which is imminent, we think, that's probably going to be 40, 50 quid. And I'm fine with that.
It's EA, so it's probably going to be.
But they are 3
more expensive.
They are 3 genre-defining Game of the Year classic games that are excellent.
Yeah.
You bang for your buck on all 3. That's fine. They're huge games as well.
I'm with you.
Huge games. There's so much to delve into. Like
Pikmin, not so huge.
No. Anyway, so our main message is Nintendo, stop robbing the kids. You're robbing the kids blind. Nintendo, Nintendo are robbing the kids. Okay, can we agree on that?
Right. Yep.
So, Mark, that's sort of. I mean, we've really good little chat there.
I've got a segue if you'd like me to.
You've got a segue.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with.
Do you want to
hit me with that?
So, someone who is enough of a Nintendo fanboy to own a Wii U is Jiggy, who we mentioned last week.
That was a good segue. I've got to give you some.
Is that all right?
No, it was smooth. Yeah, I barely noticed it happen actually.
Yeah, one of his top 10s was what was it? Not Wii. No, Summer Me World. What's it called? Do you remember? Wii U. Nintendo Land?
Nintendo Land was one of it. Are you sure Nintendo Land was in his top 10?
Nintendo Land was in his top 10 because he's hilarious.
I'm going to go into our emails and just double check that. But I'm
pretty sure.
I'm sure you're right.
Anyway, last week we mentioned we didn't have time for it, but we're going to finish the episode with this week because Joe Bellum was waxing lyrical about Hades last week and how much he's enjoying it. Still enjoying it, aren't you, Joe? As you mentioned earlier.
I'm still enjoying it, and also, yes, Nintendo Land was in Jiggy's top 10. I've got it up in front of me. You're correct.
So there you go. So you can take every opinion you hear from Jiggy with a grain of salt the size of Mount Kilimanjaro.
I was just going to say some very coarse rock salt, but the size of Kilimanjaro has a blooming big grain, Mark.
Anyway, we mentioned that on his blog, which is jiggyicarus.wixsite.com, he has written a really great review that we recommend you go and read. But Joe Bellum is going to read sort of the top of it to give you a vibe.
Oh, wow. Lovely. Thank you for
and sort of introduce you to Jiggy's review and his blog, which we think is great and really well written. You should definitely take a look at.
He is genuinely a very good writer. So, and we're not just saying that because he's a friend of ours. Please go. He has a section on his blog about gaming, and this is from it. So this is the top of his Hades review. Hades is a vibrant and exciting roguelike action experience that focuses on hack-and-slash gameplay set in isometric, randomly generated dungeons of the Greek-envisioned underworld. It falls in line with what I call the Supergiant vibe, a story-rich, melancholy atmosphere that is narrated by an omnipresent character who both feeds the story and provides an existential sense of foreboding, as if something or someone is always watching you. You play as Zagreus, who, this is Joe Bellum chipping in here, who is a pretty sexy man, a rebellious teenage prince attempting to escape the confines of the underworld. He hopes to...
slightly undermining Jiggy's blog.
Yeah, I like to cut in and totally poo all over it. Sorry. Anyway, you play as Zagreus, a rebellious teenage prince attempting to escape the confines of the underworld. He hopes to meet his extended family, the Olympians, and discover the mysteries that surround his upbringing, all at the behest of the Lord of the Underworld, Hades, who also just so happens to be your father. Boing. The premise is simple.
That? I'm just going to check.
No, Jiggy didn't write that sound effect. That was my own of... It was a reaction. The premise is simple. Enter the underworld, kill some enemies, die, and go again. But the experience goes far beyond that. Each run is an attempt to better yourself, learning the enemies, rooms, areas, boons, collectibles, and secrets, all to provide a better fighting chance against Hades' dreaded forces that seek to keep you in your place. Hades is a masterclass in progression. It has an astonishing number of collectibles such as weapons, power-ups, and cosmetics, and detailed and truly interesting codex entries. Most importantly, however, is its incredible story, dialogue to feel rich, adaptive, and responsive. Despite sometimes lacking a depth of synergy and strategy that is found in other titles in the genre, each run will be a unique and surprising experience, and provides you with a sense of accomplishment, as your efforts always amount to something gained. If you're looking for a game with high replayability to pick up every so often or devote hours upon hours of dedicating gaming to, Hades will provide, and on a portable device such as Nintendo Switch, it will provide well. Rewarding and engaging, Hades cements its place highly among an exhaustive list of roguelikes, in what I would argue is one of Supergiant's most well-crafted and exciting games yet. Jiggy the mate. I mean, that's just the start of the review, guys. That's not the whole thing. It goes on. There's pages of it, and it's all very in depth. And he kind of breaks the game down into its various sections. Please go and read the rest of his review if you're interested in Hades as a game or not, because it's a very, very, very well written review, and I would really heartily sort of echo a lot of the things that Jiggy is saying there. It's a very, very fun game. What I would say. And we've sort of talked about it before in terms of other Supergiant games, and Jiggy sort of mentions it there. That it is still very much Supergiant combat. If you didn't really like the combat in Bastion or Transistor, it's similar in that some of the weapons feel better than others, in my opinion. I don't know if you're familiar with Jim Sterling on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched his review of it, and he kind of said that all of the weapons across the board feel like excellent. But there's a couple that I like slightly less. But yeah, everyone will kind of. I guess it's like what we were saying with Monster World. Like everyone will find the weapons that they like the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good game, and if you're a fan of roguelikes, or if you're not, it is just a really good game. And from a lot of people that I sort of follow online and watch on YouTube, there's a lot of people that are saying it's a contender for their game of the year, which is mad. Like I always love it when smaller, whether it's indie games or what have you, those smaller titles compared to the huge games like Last of Us 2 do compete for those kind of the affection in people's hearts. Something like Hades.
I do think it's great, but I think when something like Duck Game wins, I think that's stupid. As in, I wholeheartedly think that's dumb.
Are you referring to Untitled Goose Game?
I'm referring to Untitled Goose Game. Really fun, that sort of cartoony, like music following you vibe. It's great. Like, as in, it very much is what it is. Game of the year? No, it ain't. Like that kind of thing. It
won it in a few places.
Yes, I know, but like for me, that's such like a bandwagoning on just like this is different and really thoughtful, rather than like actually is it really good and does it deserve it?
I
find it annoying.
It's a little bit of a sort of. Yeah, it's a little bit of a contrarian sort of hipster choice, isn't it? And it's like, oh, it's so quirky. Like, don't get me wrong.
We've subverted your expectations by going with the game with a honk button. And it's like, really?
Yeah. And I just agree. I agree. It was a lot of fun as a small experience, but if you are comparing it, I can't remember what the other one's up against it. Like last year was a bit of a weird one for games. Actually.
It was a weird one. It was a bit slow. It wasn't the greatest year for gaming. 2019.
Sekiro, I think, won quite a lot of awards.
Yeah, it did.
But that was sort of the biggest challenger, really. So it wasn't a huge year for games last year. Whereas this year is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I agree. I'm up for it, and having not played the game, I can't comment too heavily on it. But it's great to see that this could be a contender.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've talked about this game quite a lot, and please go read Jiggy's review of it. But if you are interested in it, I would personally recommend getting it on the Nintendo Switch because, as like Jiggy said, it's such a great game to be able to dip into when you're on the move, or say if someone's watching something on a television and you can't gain access to your console,
you can't quick resume.
You can't quick resume. Exactly, mate. We've gone full circle. We've gone full circle
see what
here.
We did there. See what we did there. And that's a good place to end the episode. So thank you very much for listening. Next week, we're really excited to let you know that we're actually going to have 2 guests on.
Oh, my word.
Count them, 2. They are from the Video Games Chat podcast, who are another UK-based games podcast. They're on Apple, they're on Spotify, I think. I need to look up where else they're on. I'm not prepared for this little spiel, if I'm totally honest. But I did give them a little listen, and they're a great bunch of guys. There's 4 of them.
You can find them at VGC_podcast on Twitter, Video Game Chat Podcast. They release their podcast fortnightly on Tuesdays. So go check them out. Like Mark said, they're a UK based podcast talking about video games, new and old, gaming news and reviews. So we're definitely going to have one of the guys. Okay. We might not, but we might even have 2. It's not confirmed yet. So if everyone out
I went
there,
straight in with the confirmation.
If everyone out there is getting massively hyped for finally the day when we get past 3 people talking, I'm afraid we might not definitely get there yet, but it could happen. You'll find out when you listen next week. But we're excited to have some guests again, Mark, and we can share our opinions with them, and hopefully we won't argue.
Find some common ground. It'd be nice.
Yes.
But also just supporting another small, UK podcast. It's really great. They gave us a little shout out, and then we were like, "Hey, let's actually meet and chat. That'd be fun." So VGC podcast, go check them out. See what you think. And for us,
please do.
You can follow us at PB Podcast UK. That's our Twitter, and Instagram is at Pushing Buttons Pod. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Pod, Amazon Music, YouTube, Deezer, Stitcher. They're all there.
And as you said on Twitter, Mark, you can ask your Alexa to play the Pushing Buttons podcast, and it will work.
It does work. And she says, playing the latest episode from Pushing Buttons, a video games podcast, 14. Steven Smash, and it's just like great. It's really, it's so funny. I really enjoyed it.
That's good. Oh, mate. Well, that's a life goal achieved.
Bethesda Cash and Steven Smash.
I like that.
Really enjoyed it.
It's a decent impression. Maybe. Oh, could you before the next episode? Could you record just on your phone or whatever your Alexa playing that? I want to hear what it's like.
Yeah, sure, I will do.
Cheers, man.
And to become MVL, you need to tag 5 people in Twitter, tell people about our podcast, and you get the MVL stamp of goodness plus a free jingle. Who wouldn't want that? So please email us at pushingbuttonspod@gmail.com. You can also use that email just to email your thoughts and opinions, or if you've got a piece of news that you think we haven't covered and want to chat about, hear our opinions on, send us things and stuff and like interesting tidbits and all that kind of thing.
Phil, mate, I'm expecting you to tag 5 people, all right? And if you don't, I'm going to come into your house, I'm going to find you, and I'm going to throw duck eggs all over it, and I'm going to be like the goose from Untitled Goose Game and honk through your window, okay? And then people will see me doing it, and they're going to give me Game of the Year.
He's got 2 dogs and 2 cats. You'll send them bananas if you go do that.
I flipping will as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We've had a right laugh doing this after hours, post-Watershed, Pushing Buttons episode. I've drunk my delicious Proper Job Cornish IPA, and it's made me a little bit sleepy now because that often happens after one beer. So I'm going to get myself to bed and dream about video games.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to get myself another beer, pet me up again. And
No, that's nice. Only a Wednesday, mate. I'm only allowed one. Totally self-inflicted, that rule. Just don't want to make you think that my girlfriend's only let me have one beer, because that's very far away from the truth. That's a quick disclaimer. Imploded. Totally self-imploded. I need to go to bed.
And with that, goodbye or good night, whatever time you're listening to this.
Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.